Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd Pianin, with over $2 billion in funded loans.
Good morning, San Diego, on this beautiful Sunday. We got past the rain, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. This is News Radio 600 Kogo. I'm Todd Pianin, your host for the day, because my boy Dan Beer is out. As you know, he's got some things happening. Two little things, I think, are happening, and so he's got to take care of those two little things. But I'm so excited to have in the studio this morning Derek Marshall, part of the Beer Home team, kind of is jack of all trades. He's going to be able to give us an overview of what's going on in the marketplace, what's happening. And our boy, we call him Junior Gucci, Josh Kim. He's our buyer specialist. I know that we talked last week a lot about the fact that you guys were having problems out there trying to get the right home and be able to make sure that a buyer specialist, you're working with a buyer specialist, and Dan and I went through all that with you last week. But we're going to be able to pick his brain. You're also going to be able to give him a call direct if you want to talk to him personally. So we're super excited about that. You can call him at 800-676-2420. Again, that's 800-676-2420. Call him Josh, call him Junior Gucci, call him whatever you want. Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Todd.
Morning, Todd.
And good morning, San Diego. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming in, guys, on a Sunday. I mean, it's when we're super excited that Dan's got some new children in the world, and so we're super excited for him. So a shout out goes to him and his beautiful wife. So
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely, Todd. Always good to be back on the show. Thank you for having me.
No problem. You're always fun to have on the show, Josh. You're always fun to have on the show.
Well, it's my pleasure. Well, thank you.
Let's talk about just what's going on with San Diego in general. I mean, let's just talk about briefly, and maybe Derek or Josh jump into this. But now that the Chargers are gone, see ya. We're talking about making a soccer stadium, redeveloping that whole Mission Valley kind of area, and I kind of want to know, if that's good for housing, bad for our marketplace. I mean, what do you guys kind of feel about what's going on in that whole space? Derek,
well, there's a few plans on the table, and the San Diego State plan to go ahead and redevelop and actually make a river living and sports arena area is probably one of the most exciting for real estate. It's really going to open up Mission Valley. The MLS plan as well to bring in the Major League Soccer team here. You've probably noticed already they're out front of grocery stores trying to get you to sign petitions to get them in. San Diego is somewhat of a soccer town, so that's got some excitement. But real estate-wise, I think I'm pushing for the SCSU plan myself. That's my personal opinion.
So that would be like the Riverwalk they have in, I think in San Antonio or Austin or something?
Right, very similar to the San Antonio situation, exactly. So as you can imagine, it's done great for them. It could do even better for us.
Which would be good, because last week Dan pointed out one of the areas that actually have gone down in value over the last year over year, which is shocking to everybody, I have to tell you, is Mission Valley.
Right.
So, I mean, this could actually be a home run across the board, right, on the real estate side.
I definitely agree with you, Todd. I personally love Mission Valley. I have a handful of buyers looking to get into Mission Valley, and I think with the stadium, with their future plans, it's going to be great. It's going to be great for the area.
So what's okay? So like you said, you have a handful of buyers that are kind of super excited or looking for Mission Valley. What
draws them to Mission Valley?
Why?
Great question, Todd.
There's a Costco there.
Yeah, Mission Valley. Like I said, my buyers they love that area because it's like a hub. And my buyers they can go to downtown in 10 minutes. They could come to North County. You got the mall right there. The location is just prime for access, like freeway access and everything. So I think that's what's drawing a lot of my buyers to that area. And also, it's a growing area, and the buyers just know that Mission Valley is going to hold its value. And we, like you said, we don't know what we're going to do at the stadium yet, but when that time comes, I just see it soaring.
I mean, it's a great location. It's a really easy way to get to every freeway. I mean, you've got access to everything, and you can go everywhere. And yeah, it is close to the mall and that kind of stuff. I was kind of shocked when Dan went through last week. If you're listening to the show, Dan went through the list of the cities that have actually gone down in value between 2000. I think it was between 2015 and 2016. I don't want to misquote it, but listen to last week's show on iTunes. We're a podcast. You can check it out there. You're listening to News Radio 600 Kogo. I'm super excited to have in the studio. This is Real Estate Exposed with Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank. Dan Beer, who's normally here, but he's got two little beers that are coming or are out. And so we're very, very, very lucky to have Derek Marshall, who's part of the Beer Home team and one of the best buyer specialists in keeping me and my team extremely busy this year, Josh Junior Gucci Kim. You can reach either one of these guys at 800-676-2420, 800-676-2420. You can also call me at the same number, and we can just chat and talk about what's going on. But Derek, I got a question for you.
Yes, Todd.
Inventory. I mean, you're jack of all trades right now on the Beer Home team.
Absolutely,
so.
and looking at numbers is one of the main things I'm doing here. And this is an interesting time where we have an inventory, as of the last time I checked, of about 4,662 homes on the market here in San Diego County. Extremely low, less than 1 month of inventory. And I got to tell you, of that 46.6, I mean, that's, we got a few lemons in there. You got a few properties that are really not very desirable. So this is a very small number for San Diego, and we can see it. We can see it on the sales side as with the smaller inventory, we have more competition at each property. It's becoming more difficult to identify and get the property that you want.
So if I was thinking about selling, and we just went through the home selling seminars that I think that we're having coming up again, I believe next month, and we'll announce the date next week when Dan's back on the show. But we have the home selling seminars. I mean, is now a really good time to if you're thinking about selling? Josh is going to say yes because he's got a pool of buyers that want to buy. But I mean, as you know, seeing all facets of the team, because you guys break, your teams are broken down: listing specialists, buyer specialists, all that jazz. Would you say, if you're thinking of selling in the next 90 days, you should be thinking about selling now because less competition on the market? What's your vibe on that?
Right. I mean, this is simple supply-demand economics. When you have a low supply, there's a high demand, and that's what we're seeing in San Diego. When there's a lower supply and a high demand, you're going to get more for whatever your asset is, be it real estate or anything else. So we're definitely seeing right now being the better time with the lower inventory market to get ahead, especially with rates, Todd. As you know, rates sticking so low. The marriage of the two.
I mean, she just raised rates, and then we had a great rally, right?
Exactly. Last week, we see mortgage rates actually staying down, and for that reason, it puts the sellers in a very, very unique position that we may not see again for a while. So, absolutely, right now is the time to get your house on the market if you're trying to get the most out of your home.
And and you should really be attending the home selling seminar because you get to find out, the trademark 5-day. What's it called? 5-day blitz.
5-day blitz.
5-day blitz. So you can talk to, when we come back from the break, we're gonna have a one-on-one with Josh Kim, Junior Gucci. We're gonna talk to him about how we can get you into a home in this very low marketplace. You're listening to News Radio 600 Kogo. This is Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank. You can give any of us a call at 800-676-2420. We'll be right back. Of course, Mikey picks this music for Junior Gucci. It's from the TM team. Sorry, have to giggle for a second.
Thank you, Todd.
Good morning, everybody. This is News Radio 600 Kogo. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer from the Beer Home team, #1 selling team in Southern California for Keller Williams. Myself, Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank. We are super excited to welcome. We have two new little beers who came into the world this week. So Dan's not here today, but we've got Derek Marshall, who's a jack of all trades for the Beer Home team, and we have Josh Kim, who we love to call Junior Gucci. That's why we got Mike to play him a little hip hop coming out of the break. I know that a lot of you are having a hard time as a buyer. We've talked about this, of trying to get a home and, getting your offer accepted or finding the property for you that's not on the market. One of the things about the Beer Home team that we love so much is the fact that they specialize. They have specialists in everything. I mean, they have a specialist. When I go to their office, they have a specialist who gets me coffee. It's awesome. That's how many specialists they have. But all kidding aside, Casey, you don't get me coffee when I come into the office. But Josh Kim, one of their top leading buyer specialists, you've been with the team now for almost a year?
Yeah, just under a year. Just under a year.
Under a year, and you've started. I mean, you're hitting the ball out of the park, keeping my team as busy can be. But I mean, what's sort of the trick right now? What are you? Give us the lowdown. Tell our listeners they're frustrated right now. They're not getting their offers accepted, and every week I'm getting 2 or 3 new deals from you a week, so you're getting your offers accepted. So,
well, thank you. And should I call you Senior Gucci, or you just want Gucci? I'll just call you Gucci. Well, thank you for that nickname, by the way.
Yeah.
Always glad to be here, Gucci.
You just want to be me sometimes.
I do, and I feel honored to be here. So thank you for having me. Yes, it is so competitive right now. Especially with buyers. And like Derek said earlier, with a low inventory market, we are doing everything we can as a buyer specialist to get these buyers ahead of the competition. And what that looks like is, all the other agents, what they're doing is they're looking on, Redfin, or they're setting up their buyers with an MLS search and whatnot. But what we specialize here at the Beer Home team is we actually look for these properties that are not available online.
Well, explain that to me.
What does that mean, Josh?
What does that mean? Explain that.
What it means is no one knows it's going on online right now. It's off the market. It's not on the MLS. I'm literally having, my listing specialist, Joe McShane, who is not here today, but he's
out listing properties.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually. I talked to him this morning, and he's like, Todd, I want to be there, but I just can't.
Exactly. And what he's doing right now is he is at the kitchen table right now with the seller, signing an agreement, and then what he's going to do is he's going to shoot me a text and be like, hey, Josh, I got this, Mission Valley, Rancho Bernardo, wherever, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom.
Escondido, wherever it is.
Escondido, exactly. Right. All over San Diego County. We cover the whole entire area. He shoots me a text, hey, do you have a buyer for this spec home in this area? And no one knows about it. So if you want to get ahead of the market, ahead of the competition, you got to give us a call. Beer Home Team.
800-676-2420, and you're going to get first in. But I gotta ask this question though, Josh, because I know that Joe is really fair. Like, I mean, for his sellers. I mean, he's fair. He won't get you. I mean, he won't. He'll tell you about the property so you'll know about it.
Exactly.
But I mean, he really takes care of the seller.
Yes, he does take care of the seller.
Because you and I have gotten into arguments with Joe saying, we've got this buyer, Todd's already got him pre-approved, you got to get him the house, and Joe's comment is, I got to get the seller the best price for the house.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Todd. And we are not cutting the seller short at all in this process. We're bringing value to the seller by, bringing a very qualified buyer, putting it on the table, but we know the seller's not going to give away the home. And so it goes hand in hand. We always make it a win-win situation. We are not going to cut the seller short, and we know how this market is. Low inventory. The sellers know that as well. And so
they better. We talk about it every week on this show.
Right.
Yeah, and my buyers, my buyers, Todd, they're highly qualified.
Yep.
And they're super motivated.
Yes.
So we're not throwing lowball offers at these off-market properties.
Oh no, you're paying above list price a lot of times.
Yeah, and which is still getting a better deal, because when that home goes live, that thing's going to go crazy, and it's going to go way above.
So Derek, throwing this back to you for a question, because you kind of see from top down a little bit. I mean, yes, the buyer specialists kind of get you guys are a huge listing team and you have a bunch of listing agents, but I mean, top down philosophy, just so our listeners understand, is that your buyer specialists don't get first priority on the listings that come through.
No, not necessarily. And actually, what's interesting that I think Josh Young-Gucci over there didn't mention.
Junior Gucci.
Junior Gucci is the amount of properties that come in based off the listings we have. The neighbors calling in. Something we also reach out to the neighborhood whenever we have a home on the market. And that's where we start to identify properties that aren't yet even on the market and aren't even signed as listings yet.
Well, you guys have you have a specialist who does that, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, besides the buyer specialist, besides the listing specialist, you've got somebody making phone calls, outbound calls.
All day, every day, making those calls. And that's bringing in a lot of inventory that's not on the market yet, that's not known to be on the market, that may not be coming soon. But at least we're able to reach out into there, and especially in the neighborhoods that are the hottest right now. We're Del Sur, Rancho Bernardo, places where you really just can't find anything. These outbound calls and really the presence in the market itself, the presence in the neighborhoods has done a lot to bring in some new stuff. And again, this isn't an exclusive situation, but this is going to give more options to our buyers, essentially.
You guys listening to News Radio 600 Kogo. This is Real Estate Exposed with Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank. We got Derek Marshall from the Beer Home Team, as well as Josh Junior Gucci Kim from the Beer Home Team, buyer specialist. You can reach out to us anytime, 800-676-2420, 800-676-2420. So, Junior Gucci, back to you real quick. So, besides Joe giving you an inside track on what's coming to the market, what else are you doing for your buyers? Meaning, are you calling out and trying to, when you meet with a buyer, are you making outbound calls to neighborhoods or areas that may fit what your buyers are needing? Are you doing something special with your offers? I mean, give our listeners a little bit of, Junior Gucci tips.
Yes. Okay. So great question, Todd. Yes, I am. I know we have an inside sales agent, but I also do make phone calls to these particular neighborhoods and whatnot. And I think the moral of this is everyone on our team focuses on one thing, like I talked about last time I was on the show. But we're all proactive, and that's what makes the system run so well. Just because we have the ISA, that doesn't mean I'm not going to get on the phone and call a neighborhood for my buyers. So just the fact that we're all working as a team and literally squeezing out every resource we have is what gets our buyers ahead of the market. And you said something about offers, Todd, and how we, strengthen our offers and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay. What I found out in this highly competitive market is having that agent relationship with the other side. As you know, I'm a buyer's agent. But when I'm speaking with the listing agent, we're making phone calls. We're letting them know that, hey, it's the Beer Home Team. It's going to be the smoothest transaction, you ever had. We, only work with very motivated, highly qualified buyers, and we're going to make you look like a rock star. You're going to be working with rock stars, and everyone's going to win. Got it.
So one of the questions I asked Dan last week is when you're presenting an offer. When your buyer's agents or you guys are presenting an offer, do you have the sellers write like a little or do a video or write a letter to the person you're writing, you're writing the offer on, and tell them a little bit more about themselves, or you kind of handle that for them?
Yeah, I will definitely write something up, kind of letting the sellers know who's buying the home. And also another thing with technology, everyone has a video camera on their phone. We've been actually taking pictures and videos of buyers walking through the home and just seeing that emotion, seeing the look on their faces when they see this beautiful home that they want. And I think that's really giving us an advantage in winning these.
That's actually a really cool trick, and I'm really excited to hear about that. Listen, you guys listen to News Radio 600 Kogo, Real Estate Exposed with Dan Beer from the Beer Home Team. Beer like the drink. Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank. Just have to tell you, want to get in touch with us, you can give us a call at 800-676-2420. We come back after the break. We'll have more questions for these guys, and we'll talk mortgage, we'll talk rates, we'll talk where we think things are going, where we think values are happening. See you after the break. I like this part, so I'm just going to have to like sit through for 1 second. Okay. Mike has gone crazy, everyone, and Mike has picked some interesting music for us this morning. We're going to just, we should actually become just a DJ station, Mike, and have you be the DJ. Mike's our producer in the studio. You're listening to News Radio 600 Kogo. It may sound like a rock station. Apologize. This is Real Estate Exposed with Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank, Dan Beer from the Beer Home Team, #1 team at Keller Williams in Southern California. I think the #1 team in all of Southern California.
That's right. Yeah.
And they work at Keller Williams. Super excited to have in the studio because we have two little beers that have come into the world today. So we are not today, but this week. So Mr. Beer is not here, but we can ask him all about that experience next week, which I'm sure he'll go into great detail. But we have Derek Marshall from Jack of All Trades, a member of the Beer Home Team, and we got Josh Junior Gucci Kim, buyer specialist for the Beer Home Team. Telephone number that you can reach us at, 800-676-2420. You want to talk real estate? You want to talk listings? You want to talk buyers? You just want to talk to Junior Gucci and go, how did you get the name Junior Gucci? You can call 800-676-2420. But Derek, before we go into the break, because you're only going to be here now because you got to run out to an appointment, but you had a couple questions about some things.
Yeah, that's right, Todd. One of the main things I'm doing as this, looking at the whole picture, I'm always watching mortgage rates. And I was really interested to know what happened this last week. I mean, we saw these market rallies. I mean, why did this happen? Why, after last week, or are we now looking at somewhat of a dip in rates? I mean, what's going on there?
Well, I've been calling. I said at some point this year we were in an oversold situation. We would have a rally.
Okay.
And we've seen that this rally happen a little bit this week, and it may spill into next week. What triggered the rally and what caused a little fear, I think, is the whole repealing and replacing of Obamacare. So what they're saying is that, there's a lot of uncertainty. Wall Street doesn't like uncertainty. Last week, we lost over 1.1% in the Dow. We lost over 1.1% in the S&P. So, this kind of happened at the same time with oil prices last year. A little bit, we had this little bit of a rally. I still believe that we're an upward trending market. But, if you haven't locked in, now would be a really good time if you want to check on what interest rates you have. I would, that are available to you out there. I would definitely tell you that now would be a good time. But again, trying to time the market, Derek, is like, if you and I could time the market, we would be multimillionaires.
That's right.
And I wouldn't be working at Home Street Bank, and you wouldn't be working in the Beer Home Team.
That's right.
Junior Gucci would just be sitting at Gucci just buying things all day long. So, we know better than trying to time the market. And there could be another rally coming, or there could be a bounce back on Monday morning, depending upon what happened. So did that kind of answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying here. So we are in a little bit of a dip right now, which is nice. And that applies not just to purchase loans, but also to refinance loans as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So are you seeing an increase right now in refinancing? Has that happened yet?
We've seen some people that our refi volume, my personal refi volume has gone up a little bit, but it's more along the lines of people either trying to, they did FHA last year for the sake of argument, and their values have gone up. So now we can rotate them into like a first and second combination, or they did a first and second combination and values have gone up. And we can now do an 80% loan to value for them. So that's where we're seeing it, to try to save them some money. We're not seeing it necessarily interest rate driven. Because you're not going to see those rates that we've seen in years past. We're moving through this sort of upward, trending market that I would say, I'm not getting a whole bunch of phone calls on that. But I think that if you were an FHA or a loan down payment person in the last 6 or 12 months, I would highly recommend, reaching out, calling us if you want to. Again, 800-676-2420. Love to discuss, combining your loans or getting you a better program, trying to save you a couple bucks on your payments. One of the things that you will find about me and my team is we're super honest, so we won't do a loan for you if we don't think it makes sense. Lots of clients don't like that. Or call your person you worked with before. I don't want to steal. If you worked with someone for 5 years, I don't want to poach. That's not what we're all about. But that's a lot of the refinance stuff that we're seeing.
So could you say, conceivably, you could be in a FHA loan now with mortgage insurance, refinance into a rate, maybe even the same rate you have now, but dropping the mortgage insurance, and that could save you a couple $100 a month? Is that kind of what I'm hearing here?
It's possible. I would tell you that FHA rates are pretty darn low.
Okay.
We've actually done a couple of deals for Junior Gucci over here that the clients were going to go conventional with mortgage insurance, and we actually flipped them into FHA, as well as Brian Danny, who's also one of the buyer specialists. We just did that recently as well because we could save them a heck of a lot more money by doing that. And everybody has this sort of bad taste about FHA, but I mean, it's just sometimes it's just cheaper, and it's been cheaper, and it's been a better experience. You're listening to News Radio 600 Kogo with Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank. Usually our man Dan Beer from the Beer Home Team. But today in studio, you got Derek Marshall, Jack of all trades, and Junior Gucci, buyer specialist for the Beer Home Team. You can reach any of us at 800-676-2420, 800-676-2420, and I dare you to call right now. And I dare you to ask for Junior Gucci how he got his name. That would
Please do.
Yeah, we all want to hear that. That's like a story that we'd like to share. So flipping it back over to you, Junior Gucci, what are you? You tell me what's going on in your world?
Yeah. So and this is going to be great for my buyers because I know I have a lot of buyers that listen to your show, Todd. So paint us a picture of the whole mortgage side right now for my buyers. How can we help them, lock a good interest rate, and how can we help them, get the home that they want?
So, I mean, what I would say is they want to get pre-approved right away before they start going out and looking at property, right?
Right.
It's one of the things that, they just, they sign their agreement with you. You're taking them out and seeing property with them, and all of a sudden they find their dream home, and they realize that, we didn't get qualified. We're not getting pre-qualified.
Right.
And a lot of stuff, a lot of information and data we can only get during the week. We can't get on the weekends, right? Mm-hmm. So when you call on a Saturday or a Sunday and you want to get pre-qualified, it usually rolls till Monday, and that can kind of sometimes hurt, I think, in an offer situation. I don't know if you agree with that or don't.
100%. And let me ask you, I want to pick your brain here a little bit, Todd, okay?
How about you pick my brain after the break, because we got to get our man Derek out of here, and that way if you want to call, Derek's probably going to answer your call because he's going to be in the car while we're still going to be on the radio. But 800-676-2420. You're listening to News Radio 600 Kogo. Real Estate Exposed with Todd Pianon and Dan Beer. Look forward to speaking with you right after the break. Welcome back. This is News Radio 600 Kogo with Todd Pianon. This is Real Estate Exposed with Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank, and normally Dan Beer from the Beer Home Team, #1 team in Southern California. In the studio, we had Derek Marshall. He had to run out to an appointment, so now we are fortunate, and we still have Junior Gucci, Josh Kim, buyer specialist for the Beer Home Team, in studio right now. So if you want to get in touch with him, you can call 800-676-2420. If you have any questions for me, call 800-676-2420. But I know that going into break or out of break or into break, I don't know which part it was, Josh had a question for me.
I did. And like I said, I have a lot of buyers that do listen to your show, Todd.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Our show, because you've been on here a couple times now.
And I want to paint a good picture for them, okay, on the mortgage side. So as a buyer, you have the option to obviously shop rates. Mm-hmm. And so how important is it to hook up with a great lender, a great loan officer that won't completely go dark on you during the transaction? Because I've had that happen to me before. Okay.
Right.
And so can you emphasize how important it is that the communication's there and just everything on track, and how important it is to actually close the deal versus, maybe get the best rate ever.
Yeah. So what I'll tell you is that, we get a lot of people who come to us and they're, looking for the best rate they possibly can get. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. They should get the best rate that they possibly can. But there's also a difference between getting the best rate you possibly can, and in this marketplace, getting kicked out of escrow because your lender's not performing, or your lender has gone dark. So even though an eighth in interest rate may seem like not a big deal to a lot of people will choose to take something an eighth cheaper or save $200 on closing costs. Our closing costs are really affordable, but a lot of times they'll say, they'll want to save $200 on closing costs, and they'll get into escrow with a lender that sort of all of a sudden goes dark. I mean, one example I can give you was we were working with Brian Danny on your team, and he had a buyer that they were choosing to go with. It was between us and a big bank, and the big bank came back, and they were about, I would say, an eighth better in interest rate. And we do what we normally do, which is when we lose a deal, we don't like to lose. So we pick up the phone. We checked in with the buyer every week. 2 weeks had gone by. You have a 30-day escrow. Right. 2 weeks had gone by. The appraisal still hadn't been ordered. And it was an FHA deal.
Oh, man.
So as a buyer's agent, that, this is not a good
ideal situation to be in. Definitely.
Exactly. So they immediately, even though the rate was better, realized that we cared more about them because we were calling them weekly and checking on their status versus them just, them being another number or another deal to us. So they fired their old lender, went with us, and we were able to get the deal actually closed on time, knock on wood. Can't believe that we were able to, because it was a very short period of time, that we could do that in a very high refi market where things were pushed back and things were delayed.
You guys work quick. I from experience, you guys work so quick. The communication is there. And not to say, I'm not bashing big banks or anything like that. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, whatever. I check with Wells Fargo. I have nothing against them. But when it comes to communication, being on top of it, and actually working, Todd, I know you and your team, do everything you guys can for our buyers. When they're going through this process, because it is a stressful process,
right?
Especially for first-time home buyers and whatnot. So you do guide them through the process, and I'm just so thankful to be working with you, Todd.
Well, I appreciate that, Josh. I mean, you're listening to Real Estate Exposed, News Radio 600 Kogo. Todd Pianon from Home Street Bank, Josh Kim from the Beer Home Team, buyer specialist. You can reach either one of us at 800-676-2420. Again, 800-676-2420. Next week, we are going to announce dates for the next home selling seminar, which, Josh, you were at the last one.
Oh, my gosh. How awesome was that?
It was unreal. Every time we do these, it just gets better and better. And Dan, for free as an educational event, it's really super exciting. So, don't miss out this time. I highly recommend, that's going to be one of the things that we're going to talk about next week when Dan's back, besides his two little cubs that just came into the world. Josh, going back to buyers. Okay. We've talked about it, but let's talk about it one more time. What are 2 tips? Can you give me 2 tips to our listeners right now that they should ask their real estate agent that they're working with currently?
Right.
If they're not working with you guys, because they've already hopefully asked this question, what are 2 important things that they should ask?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Dan always tells me and how his business is structured. The first tip would be, is your agent successful at least once a week throughout the year? How many transactions has he or she done? And I understand, you can do like 12 transactions a year and be a very solid agent. But can you be successful once a week? Are you doing this full time? Is he going to, devote his entire 24 hours? He or she going to devote 24 hours of the day to help you find a home. Okay? That's number 1. And number 2, are they going to hold you hostage to anything? And this doesn't just only go to the listing side. It goes to the buyer side as well, because we do sign buyer agreements when we're working with clients. And so are they going to hold you hostage? Are they going to lock you into something? And frankly, if you get crummy service, are they going to keep you hostage? So I would ask those two things. Are you successful at least once a week? And number two, is it a minute-by-minute contract? Or on
the listing side, right? And also on the buy. You guys
I'm talking about the buying side here, Todd, because Dan says it all the time on the listing side, and even with our buyers, we don't lock them into anything because of the value that we can bring to the table.
So is it really reasonable to expect the buyer's agent to be successful at least once a week?
It's very reasonable, Todd.
It is.
Just with all the resources that we can tap into. It's, Brian Danny from our team, I've seen him, do 3 or 4 deals in a week.
That's true. You have two.
Yeah. Well, so, it's not unrealistic at all.
It's been a great Sunday with you, Josh. Thank you for coming in, Josh.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
Junior Gucci Kim, you can reach him at 800-676-2420 or me from Home Street Bank, 800-676-2420. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I'm Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank, a member of the FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 304014, and we'll see you next week.